Hi everyone, welcome back to the show. Let's check out the films that came out on Friday and see which ones popped and which ones flopped. Wuthering Heights did come in first place with 32 million. That's surprising. And then Go, 27 million. Crime 101, 24 million. And third place, wow. Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die actually came in seventh place. I think I said that. 3 million. I don't think that's good. I mean, it looks like Wuthering Heights popped with 32 million. We'll see the budget. There wasn't one available, so I have no idea. Goat, 27 million. And then Crime 101, I think the budget was 90 million. So even though it's in third place, see, like it still might have flopped technically. Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die, seventh place, 3 million. I don't think that's amazing. The other ones that I didn't cover were the Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie, whatever, 1 million. Cold Storage, 14th place. That's pretty unfortunate. That flopped, I think. $1 million. Liam Neeson pulled in no one. It's actually only 1,000 theaters though. Oh, well, the same with Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. That's interesting. What else? The Motorist, I didn't cover that one. 208 theaters? Jeez. Well, there you go. 259,000. And then that's it. I think, yeah, those are all, yeah. So that's very interesting. We can check out the budget. Let's see over here. It is 40 million and then 82 million worldwide. But what is the budget? I don't know. I guess 82 million. I mean, if the budget's 80 million or 40 million, it flopped technically. So I don't know. That's kind of weird. We can check out some reviews really quick for it too. 243 reviews. And then let's see, the first February 14th. So that was on Saturday. So 1 out of 10 bad. Spoiler, not going to read it. 5 out of 10 Barbie on Wuthering Heights. Wow, really? A few years ago when I watched Promising Young Woman, the debut feature film of English actress and screenwriter Emerald Fennell, I set out to follow the career of this promising filmmaker who with that film won an Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay and also received nominations for Best Picture and Best Achievement in Directing. I did not see her second feature film, but now I have watched the third, the ambitious project that brings to the screen the troubled love story from the pages of Emily Bronte's novel Wuthering Heights. As in all her films, Emerald Fennell is also the author of the script, which in this case is a screen adaptation of the novel, a very free adaptation, a real reinterpretation. In principle, I have no problem with that. It's just that too many things don't work or are not my taste in the cinematic version of a book that has been brought to larger or smaller screens at least 21 times so far. That's what I read in the history of the movie, whatever. There's so many different versions. It is, in my opinion, a spectacular and ambitious adaptation which aims to present a different vision from the classic interpretations of the novel, but which lacks the social commentary and passionate authenticity of that story of a love relationship that destroys its heroes. Those who have read the book or seen at least one of the films or television version of the novel will recognize the main characters, but with small adaptations as essential places. Heathcliff seems less gloomy than I remember him, and Kathy seems much more mature and therefore more evil than the young woman just out of the adolescence in the book. Their passion is present and well-founded in the childhood scenes, the best part of the film in my opinion, but the timid exchanges of glances and the falsely accidental touches in the novel are replaced by not very successful scenes of almost violent eroticism. Okay, so random. The entire film seems marked by the cruelty of the opening scene, an execution by hanging that offers the children Kathy and Nellie, her companion maid, a spectacle that will mark their lives. Okay. Other characters from the book are not present in Emerald Fennell's version. This is the case of Kathy's brother, part of the character being taken over by her father. The next generation with its characters completely disappears, as does a prologue and epilogue that recall in the book the events 30 years after they happened. Emerald Fennell wants viewers to understand they're not watching an adaptation of Emily Bronte's novel as much as her personal vision of a story that is greater in purpose than the details related to the era in which the novel's action took place. The half-ruined house of the Earnshaws and the sumptuous estate of the Lintons acquire proportions, architectures, lights, shadows, and colors that amplify the messages about the families that live in them. The screenwriter gave up any allusion to Heathcliff's race, which in the novel doubled the theme of class differences with the implicit one of racial differences. Instead, she cast Hong Chow, a Thai actress with Asian features that are hardly believable in the context of the era, in the role of Nellie, a pivotal character in the film as well, a kind of Polonius of this drama, and Shahzad Latif in the role of Edgar. The outstanding acting performances, however, seem to me in belonging to Martin Clunes, Delicious as Kathy's father, and to Owen Cooper in his first role in the big screen, that of Heathcliff at young age. The young actor, after his formidable performance in the series Adolescence, seems to be building a career that could become that of a big star. The main roles bring together two of the most talented and successful actors of the moment. Margot Robbie's an actress that I liked in everything she did up to this film. She was terrific in Barbie, but now she's paying the price of that success, and has to get rid of the image created by that film through roles that put less of her wonderfully blue eyes and her physical beauty in general. Interesting. In Jacob Elordi's filmography, Heathcliff from Wuthering Heights comes after the role of the creature in Frankenstein, from the absolute monster to one of the male symbols of romantic love. His transition is fine, but the two actors didn't seem to me to have passionate and erotic tension on screen. Paradoxically, in a relatively bold film like this, it's precisely the love scenes between the two that are among the least successful. I respect the fact that Emerald Fennell aimed further than a simple cinematic adaptation. The film is in many moments beautiful in images and sound, especially when it uses Charlie XCX's original songs. But the emotion and drama of the novel are not found on screen and have not been replaced with anything else. Very, very long one. Interesting. Well, that's pretty that explains a lot. 8 out of 10, a beautiful twisted fairy tale. Margot and Jacob's on-screen chemistry is electric, visually stunning, emotional, beautiful movie. Dark twisted fairy tale. Jacob absolutely nails the Yorkshire accent. Was surprising to learn he originates from Brisbane, Australia. You can feel the passion, love, and lust on screen, atmospherically perfect and intoxicating. That seems fake in comparison to this probably real one. 5 out of 10. That's probably very true. I'll just read a few more. 4 out of 10. The most handsome Heathcliff and Catherine, but flawed production. 1 out of 10. Bronte would be appalled. 6 out of 10. Desired distance adaptation. 10 out of 10. Not like the book. 5 out of 10. Soulless and forgettable. Wow. Fan fiction of 50 Shades of Grey. So those ones pretty much make sense, I think. And yeah, that's pretty much it for that movie. I guess it popped so far. If it can hold up for another week, and then if IMDb posts the actual the budget for it, then we'll really know if it was a success or not. Goat is the next one. So it ended up no budget. It ended up making 32 million here and then 47 worldwide. There's no way that this movie is under 80 million, right? You think 100 million? See, even though it's in technically second place right now, I think technically it flopped. We can read the reviews and see what they say. February 15th, that is from yesterday. 7 out of 10, maybe something new under the sun. Goat at first plays like a typical loser protagonist becomes a rock star kind of plot, and it's initially very cliched at that. However, the tropes associated with that kind of movie are played quickly, and instead the movie shifts its gears and becomes about the shortcomings of other players, with Jet's insecurities acting like the connective glue between these two plots. I appreciate that quite a lot, as Will is likable, but not very deep, and his troubles don't overstay their welcome and allow the movie to be action-packed. A solid recommendation. Really interesting. Well, that's funny. 5 out of 10. Goat, all hype, no heart. Goat tries hard to position itself as a gritty emotional sports drama, but what it actually delivers is a sluggish, visually muddy experience that feels far longer than its runtime. First off, the pacing drags, scenes stretch on without adding meaningful development, and the emotional beats feel forced rather than earned. Instead of building tension, the film meanders to repetitive training montages and brooding stares that never quite land. What could have been intense and motivational ends up feeling flat and predictable. The biggest issue, though, is the cinematography. Most of the movie is shot in this dark green-tinted palette that makes everything look washed out and lifeless. It's not moody, it's just hard to see. Fight scenes, which should be the highlight, lose impact because they're buried under dim lighting and murky color grading. After a while, the constant darkness becomes distracting. Character development is another weak spot. The protagonist is written as intense but comes off one-dimensional, and supporting characters feel like background props rather than real people. The dialogue doesn't help. It leans into cliches, sports drama tropes instead of delivering anything memorable or authentic. By the end, instead of feeling inspired or emotionally moved, you're mostly just waiting for it to be over. Between the slow pacing, uninspired script, and that relentless dark green look, GOAT ends up being, bluntly put, boring as hell. If this was supposed to redefine the genre, it missed by a mile. Well, that's not good. 8 out of 10, an ideal family movie. 6 out of 10, a message lost due to the commercial aspect. 8 out of 10, very fun. 10 out of 10, best movie ever? Jesus. 5 out of 10, generic movie to pass the time. My son loved it. 8 out of 10, 8 out of 10. Well, it seems like people like it. So, I don't know. I did well. But I bet you we're going to find out that it's like 100 million. If it could double it in another week, then yes, this will probably do well or whatever. But it looks like so far this movie flopped. Next one was Crime 101. Actually came in the top 3 or 4, so which isn't surprising, but it actually, I guess it, actually kind of did its job, whatever. 17 million in the States and then 29 million worldwide. Oh, it's a $90 million movie. Yeah, it did. This one flopped, right? I think technically it flopped. In another week, it would make not 50 or 60 million. That's not good. I guess technically it flopped. It's not going to make it back. It's not all of a sudden, it's like, hey, this is really good. And then it's going to make back all its money. So here are some of the reviews. From yesterday. 7 out of 10. Okay for heist movie fans. It's a jewelry heist movie set in modern times in LA and along the coastal US Route 101. Oh, interesting. There are 5 main characters in this clever but formulaic heist movie. Mike Davis is a top-end jewelry thief working for a fence known as Money. Orman is a young motorcycle-riding psychotic something or whatever. Who also works for Money. Sharon Combs is an overlooked insurance executive. A police detective, Lou Lubeznik, is a jaded but honest cop who is convinced a single person has committed a series of jewel robberies along Route 101. Maya is a blue-collar worker who hits Mike's car from behind and ends up as his girlfriend. Crime 101 is suitably complex and entertaining as the various characters interact until a climactic confrontation and concludes a crooked billionaire. Maybe this is spoilers. 2 car/motorcycle chases do not match Steve McQueen and Bullet, even though the movie is referenced. The chase scenes feel too gimmicky. The storyline is crisply moved forward and keeps the viewer current with the unfolding plot, but the ending is facile, with some serious logical problems. For example, the billionaire's security arrangements and Orman's sources of information in the movie's latter third. Hemsworth, Ruffalo, Keegan, and Barry Keegan do well in their roles. Worthwhile for fans of heist movies. Okay, well, that's interesting. That's probably a pretty straightforward, that's probably a good review. 8 out of 10, just a short take on this long movie. It kept my interest, but moved through the story with a slug-like pace. And still give it an 8 out of 10, though. Predictable? Yes. My wife and I were challenging each other as to what will happen next. More often than not, we were right. But it is a good movie for those who like Hemsworth in the lead. It gets an 8 from me just because I could not find another negative to give it a lower rating or not enough positive to give it a higher rating. Okay. 1 out of 10, terrible movie with high expectations. Wow. While I am flabbergasted, it's an experiment gone wrong. This movie was genuinely a snooze fest. I slept for 30 minutes, and those 30 minutes were the best part of the movie. Inconsistent action, unclear lore, and non-appealing characters. I went into this movie believing it would be fantastic and would get me hooked, but I was hooked to the exit. I genuinely went in with high expectations, but left disappointed. Wow. That's unfortunate. Not out of 10, great. 7 out of 10, solid, decent crime thriller. 5 out of 10, wait for streaming. Absurd ending. Okay, well, these are very mixed. Yeah, I'd probably wait then. It bombed. Yeah, probably, definitely wait for this to come out on streaming for sure. Yeah, I guess technically Crime 101 flopped. Next is the film Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. Came in 7th or 8th place, whatever it was. Didn't do too well, I guess. 7.6. Has some good reviews, though, I guess. We can check the budget. Wow. Oh, my God. There's this flop. Wow, 4 million in the States, and then 4... Wow. That's unfortunate. Wow. Well, then, yeah. 51 reviews. Darn. That's probably entertaining. 10 out of 10, a brilliant mind-bending palate cleanser. It feels like what would have been if Predestination, Shutter Island, and They Live somehow collided. Cerebral, unsettling, and quietly rebellious. It's thrilling without being flashy, and deeply thought-provoking without trying too hard. It constantly nudges you to question reality, perception, and control, keeping you engaged and slightly on edge the entire time. Nothing is spoon-fed, and that's exactly what makes it so rewarding. In a sea of predictable films, this was a refreshing, magnificent palate cleanser. It's still lingering, and I might just watch it again. Well, there you go. A wildly entertaining, darkly funny sci-fi adventure. Gore Verbinski's Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die kicks the door down from its opening scene and never apologizes for the chaos that follows. Fast, loud, funny, and surprisingly unsettling, this dark sci-fi action comedy drops you straight into a diner where a jittery, wide-eyed man claiming to be from the future, Sam Rockwell, takes everyone hostage. His reason? He needs unlikely recruits to stop an AI apocalypse that's already written into history. There's no slow burn here. The film launches at full speed, throwing you into the urgency of the moment as police surround the diner and tensions escalate. Rockwell's man from the future makes his pitch while sirens wail outside and disbelief fills the room. It's frantic, it's absurd, and somehow it's completely gripping. Rockwell is, as always, magnetic. He has this uncanny ability to make insanity feel grounded. You believe him even when no one else does. His delivery walks the razor's edge between unhinged and prophetic. And the more he explains what's coming, the more you start to feel the creeping dread underneath the humor. Because here's the thing, while this isn't a horror film, it absolutely uses AI as a horror antagonist. The future threat isn't some mustache-twirling robot overlord. It's an invisible... What? It's invisible. The film leads into that discomfort. Each character gets a mini origin detour that at first makes you go, what the hell is happening right now? The tonal shifts are bold. The backstory is sometimes darkly comedic, sometimes almost tragic. But they work. They feel like warped little morality plays, parodying modern anxieties about technology, ambition, ego, and complacency. You can roll your eyes and laugh and immediately nod and think, okay, yeah, that tracks. That's crazy. This is probably a pretty important film, like Idiocracy, you know? It says, Verbinski directs the madness with a confident hand. The pacing is relentless but controlled. The action sequences are inventive without feeling hollow, and the humor never undercuts the stakes. There's a certain chaotic energy here that fans of Sam Raimi will absolutely latch onto. The tonal tightrope walk between absurdity and genuine danger. At its core, Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die is about belief, but whether you choose to act when confronted with impossible odds. It's loud, messy, fun, and smarter than it first appears. And beneath the humor and action, there's a surprisingly sharp commentary about our current relationship with AI and how willingly we hand over control. This might generally be one of the best use of AI as a villain, I guess, because it entertains while making you uneasy. I don't know, something like that. It's a roller coaster that starts mid-drop and never fully slows down. Well, there you go. 1 out of 10, lower your expectations. Right after all that. Well then, yeah, so Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die, flopped. And next is Cold Storage, which I guess technically flopped. So that is unfortunate. I mean, it looks kind of entertaining. It looks like a cool, fun idea. It looks hectic and crazy. 6.3. The budget, no budget, of course, $1 million. Wow, that's unfortunate. Yeah, this movie flopped. Wow, that's so weird. Do you think they would have, that guy from Stranger Things, very popular right now, Liam Neeson, and yeah, 18 reviews. That's unfortunate. 7 out of 10, enjoyable and relaxing. Cold Storage is a relaxing comedy with some memorable moments. This film does have some rough visual effects, but the practical effects are actually impressive. Everyone involved made this movie a great watch, and this movie is a film that you can watch with family and friends, and all will have a great time. It's kind of violent, isn't it? I don't know if you, like, some people wouldn't let the kids watch it, so... 6 out of 10, it grows on you. That's funny. 9 out of 10, Cold Storage. 10 out of 10, Cold Storage, a sci-fi thriller that grabs you by the throat and never lets go. Interesting. 4 out of 10, it's fine. It's just extremely corny. Yeah. If it plays into that Naked Gun angle, maybe it could have done better or something. I don't know. But why did it bomb, though? Like this, like it should have not done that bad. 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10. I'm just going to 5 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 7 out of 10. Yeah, anyways, that's pretty much all of them. Yeah, well, then there you go. So Cold Storage flopped. The last one was Scarlett. That it's kind of old, whatever. This one flopped for sure. This one did not do well. 6.4 stars. See if there's any info. $1 million. Wow. Only made $500,000 here. That's what I was saying. There's not much of a draw. They're very good films, though. Very entertaining. Very well produced. Great graphics. They look good and everything. 13 reviews. So, wow, one from yesterday. Shakespeare by way of Alice in Wonderland, Lord of the Rings, 8 out of 10. That's too long. Wow. 6 out of 10. Confused narrative, but stunning visuals. The animation, the images, and Scarlett are outstanding, and the reason to see this movie. Yeah, well, the Hamlet-inspired story is occasionally difficult to follow as it sometimes closely follows a Shakespeare tragedy, and at other times completely abandons the material. The inclusion of a contemporary character and setting in an otherwise period piece is entertaining, none of the better deviation from the play. Ultimately, the production leaves its characters thinly defined, and the movie feels emotionally detached from its proceedings. As amazing as the visuals are, some are clearly cribbed from other works, and Mamoru Hosoda seems to be repeating himself a little bit. Yeah, that's been the issue with these movies. It's like, the last one of them was literally a summary of the last season of the show. And then something like some dumb news story. Like, why? 3 out of 10, 5 out of 10, 10 out of 10. Yeah, those ones I read already. Well, this film flopped as well. All right, so yeah, the Wuthering Heights, I guess, did the best. I don't know if it popped really because we don't know the budget. Goat, I guess, kind of did okay. And then the other ones flopped, which is unfortunate. Look how beautiful the covers look. You know, like they really put a lot of work into these ones, I guess. And they're long. I mean, have fun, have good luck, have fun, don't die, Crime 101 are both over 2 hour movies, and one's based off a book. So very interesting. I'm surprised Wuthering Heights did so well, even though it's rated R. And, you know, that's like, not many people could see it, you know, but it was Valentine's Day, so maybe that's why. And it looks like it did well here. It looks like people really liked it. All right, well, that is pretty much it. Those are the results of the films that came out last week. The next show we're going to be covering these movies here. How to Make a Killing from A24. They are absolutely just making too many movies. I mean, look, they have another one. Pillion. Expanding Wide. How is that possible? 2 movies? They just have dropped Marty Supreme, I mean, oh my god, it's crazy. And then I Only Can Imagine 2 from Lionsgate, Midwinter Break from Focus Features, Midwinter Break from Focus Features, Psycho Killer from 20th Century Studios, and yeah, I mean, wow, and then a bunch of other limited ones, of course. That is crazy. So, 2 A24 films. Wow. So anyways, yeah, that's going to be the next show on Thursday. All right. That pretty much wraps up this episode. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Comment down below about what you thought of the results from Friday, and I will see you in the next episode. Peace.